us to operate in Washougal?
It does. It allows us to operate in other jurisdictions to operate within ours.
Prior coordination required?
Yes, generally it's just a courtesy to let someone know. Right now, like say if we're doing something in Camas, we'll let them know. Other agencies let us know. For instance, when we do the speeding emphasis, when we had Battleground and other agencies, that's how we're able to do that.
Just for my clarification, I see that they have a timestamp of March of 2000, I think that looks like. So you're just refreshing the signatures currently, and then they'll start a review process.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. All right.
Any questions?
Thank you. Jeanette, Department Head Manual.
So we've done a review of the Department Head Manual and now have more substance to present to Council. There are essentially 3 areas that have been suggested for amendment. The one area is the severance, and that is proposed going forward that it be 1 month per year of service with a cap of 6 months. However, grandfathering the existing department heads under the current manual and that schedule. The next section is the vacation accrual, and that is being slowed down, as well as reducing certainly the upper limits for the vacation schedule for both the department heads and the mid-managers. But again, suggesting that the existing department heads and mid-managers be grandfathered under the existing schedules. And then the third section is the sick leave payout, currently at 25% of 5 years with the city. And the suggestion there is that be struck for both department heads and mid-managers, again going forward, but grandfathering the existing managers. There's some other language, it's not substance, just taking out some items that really didn't make sense or rewording things a little bit better. But those are the 3 areas of substance.
Always appreciate upgrading. Always love that up there. Moving it forward. Sorry.
Dave?
I work for a variety of public and private employers. I've never in my life seen severance in excess of 3 months, and the norm was 2 weeks.
Well, certainly where I came from in the private sector was 9 months if you had 12 years with the company. And that's, I mean, if they're offering, I mean, you're right, there's varying amounts, but certainly my experience in the private sector was a lot richer than that.
Were you ever a political appointee?
No.
Did you ever serve at the pleasure of an elected official?
I served as an at-will employee.
I'm sorry?
I served as an at-will employee.
That's different. Especially
So,
especially in California, you have lots of rights as an at-will employee that a political appointee does not have.
Okay, so you're trying to protect the political employee. I understand the goal. And I guess I would ask, is that necessary at this time with the employment situation we've got out there? Are there not people who will come and work with us and do a great job without that protection?
The problem is not to get someone, it's to get the best available.
Kind of what the market will bear kind of thing, right?
Well, I think to go after the best there is, yes, you're going to need to do this. I think you need to have good leadership in those positions. I think you can get it without the rich package that we've got. Severance is only part of it. In my entire life, I never saw 3.5 days of vacation accumulated in 1 month. these are people who don't work more than 10 months a year.
Well, I just know severance-wise, I mean, when I was laid off from my previous employer, I got over 4 months of severance, plus all of the health benefits. I mean, I was a project manager certified, but all of my colleagues in that same position, they all got the same treatment, and that was considered standard severance at the time. That was standard package, and that was 6-7 years ago. So,
It's all across the board out there.
yeah, I
no
think
doubt.
there's, I think I think the change in the severance policy and vacation and reducing them, I think this is definitely a good step and needed to be done, but I still think it needs to be fair to the employee.
And that's part of what we've tried to look at going all the way through here.
Right.
I've had a couple of meetings with the middle managers and the department heads, and we have one that we'll be doing with the unions as well, all three of the unions as well. And one of the things I've stressed to them is that, none of these changes, adjustments, whatever you want to call them, are meant to reflect negatively on certainly anybody that's here. If they're still here today, they're a valued employee and are still here, or they would have been moving on previous to this. But there's always that balance between what we can afford, what's good, what's fair on both sides, and trying to rein all of those pieces back in. On the severance, there's everything under the sun. Everybody is different out there, and trying to find a standard, I don't think we'll get to. One of the things we try to do is slow it down significantly on the early years and make sure that, the more significant payout really didn't happen until you had 5 or 6 years in with the city. If that even came up as an issue as far as severance and having to terminate someone. Certainly from my perspective and knowing the department heads that we have in place, I don't see that becoming a problem unless somebody really becomes a loose cannon out there and something needs to happen. On the vacation side, one of the big things, I know that was a discussion that we've had earlier as well, one of the big things that I continue to weigh in my mind is that we are running so lean, not only in the ranks of the folks that we've got out there on the streets doing the jobs and in the offices doing the jobs, but certainly at the department head, the mid-manager level as well. And I don't believe in any of the upcoming budgets you're going to see a whole lot of people added to, or many people other than 1 or 2 added to any department ranks. So it's important for me to make sure that those folks are getting enough time out of here to be able to recharge themselves and go from there. And they definitely put the time in. Bud?
I hear where Dave's coming from, but I'm not nearly as concerned about 9 months of severance pay as I am getting the wording changed, that if they're dismissed for some of the issues we've had in the past, that we have teeth in that, and that we don't cough up a bunch of medical benefits or otherwise when they've been removed from office for cause. There's where I want to put the emphasis on this thing. As far as rewarding them or putting severance pay out there, that's part of the deal that we get to attract them. But I really would like to see